Dakota land where the skies are wide and the freedom stands. With a Bible in my hand and a prayer in my heart, living this life where the wild plays its part. Dust on my boots and my hat pulled low, got my trusty rifle and I'm ready to go. Hunting the game as the sun hits the sky in the heart of the 701. I feel so alive. Guns and the 701, that's how we roll. Faith in the good Lord, that's how we hold the line of the legacy that runs through our veins. In this wild, wild land where the spirit remains, we're living free, living bold side by side, with God on our plate and our hearts open wide. Ranching the fields, the cattle run free with a purpose so strong, it's our grand legacy. The rivers run deep as we cast out our lines, fishing the waters where the North Star shines. Got the warmth of the sun with the chill of the night. With every shot fired, we're ready to fight for the freedom we cherish. The second is true. With family beside us, we stand through and through. Guns in the 701, that's how we roll. Faith in the good Lord, that's how we hold the line of the legacy that runs through our veins. In this wild, wild land where the spirit remains, we're living free, living bold side by side, with God on our plate and our hearts open wide. In a world that's spinning with sins that they wield, we stick to our values. Our fate is revealed with the word as our guide. We tread on the earth, a community built from the love, not the curse. Raising our voices, singing loud through the night, for God and our freedom, we'll continue the fight. Let the rifles ring out, let the spirits align. In North Dakota's embrace, our souls intertwine. So when you hear the gunshots and feel that proud sound, know it's faith and freedom that echoes around. From the fields of the ranch to the depths of the lake, with God on our side, there's nothing at stake. Guns and the 71, forever we'll stand in the heart of our faith in this great free land.
Good evening, everybody, fellow MVs. We want to thank you tonight for joining in episode 198 as we are starting here a couple weeks ago, our fourth year, everybody. So quite an accomplishment, something I never had on my bucket list. Hey, JD, good evening. Dan Brown over on the western side, good evening. Hey, did you get any rain over there or hail? I know we kind of had some here this past week, so just wondering how things were over in that Dickinson area. Dan, over there, how you doing? Glad to have you joining us, and welcome to everybody else. So I see we got Rumble, we have Twitter, Facebook. All the feeds are coming in here, letting everybody get on there. So I'm going to start out like I have every single time, and that's with our Second Amendment. I'll put it up there for everybody. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And I always like to start the show off with a prayer. We were out for the last 6 days gathering and then loading out the last 3 in that 6-day period. 2,700 and approximately 50 head of yearling steers. So I look forward to it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of early mornings, but it also gives you a lot of time of reflection, especially when you're out there and that sun's coming up and you're bringing in those critters, and you just, they're here for we have dominion over them. They're here for our care, to take care of them, and then to serve out their purpose. But so I'm going to start out tonight with a prayer. Heavenly Father and Creator of all, we come before you. We know that you are the source of all that is good, the foundation of our true freedom, and the author of our unalienable rights. We celebrate and pause for you. We ask that you will touch each and every one of us, give us power and give us strength, and fill our hearts with love and fill our hearts with forgiveness, so that we can love our fellow man each and every day, which sometimes gets difficult. Lord, thank you so much for all that you blessed us with, and recently with the rains that we've all received in our area. We thank you for that. It has brought refreshment to our land. The grass is greening up, and the animals that we're charged with their care are doing better too. You can just see the overwhelming positive effects. Lord, we thank you for all of this. In your name we pray. Amen. All right. So, yeah. I can tell you right now, after being out there the last 6 days, and I'm going to get into some other things here. I'm definitely going to touch on the NFA, but it's just a great break. Thanks also to Leon for filling in for me last Friday. While he was doing the show on K-Fire, I was out there behind a four-wheeler bringing in those critters. And like I said, something I look forward to each and every year. We do this about the same time. And think about this, guys. This is probably the closest thing to a cattle drive that you're probably going to see in modern times. Sometimes we're trailing them in 3-4 miles, sometimes a little longer. Sometimes it might only be, a mile to maybe a quarter mile or somewhere in that area. It was very uneventful. Usually we have some issues, some wrecks. I mean, you're working with a lot of animals. Honestly, I can tell you that this year was probably one of the smoothest years we had. I know that Jerry, the guy that's Danelle's cousin, that we go out and help, he's our neighbor as well. And of course, all his sons. It's a very much a family-run operation, which is one of the coolest things, and really not that common anymore. To have that kind of a herd with that much land and those kind of places involved, and they're all one family operation, a true family operation. So kudos to them guys. And again, I just can't say enough about it. A lot of fun, multiple generations there. I didn't have time to load any pictures because we were out there bright and early this morning, and then we had to go move our own cows. Had my wells go down. I think it was the night before last. I went over there yesterday and had no water. So thanks to Op Well Drilling Service for coming over and taking care of us while I was gone here and getting things up and running. It was pretty hot days, and we needed to get our cattle watered. So anyway, we were out moving them back. So I had moved them so they had water. Pulled our bulls. So it was a busy day, so I didn't have time to load pictures, but I'll definitely get some. Hey, Paul, good evening to you as well. But again, it was a lot of fun. I always love when I'm trailing cattle, and yeah, it lets your mind wander. All the things that seem like they're bringing the world tumbling down. In all honesty, guys, it's relaxing, and you kind of just forget about that. You put the task at hand and enjoy what's happening. And we had the perfect weather. I'm telling you, nice, cool mornings, really no wind. We had some moisture, so it wasn't dusty. It was just one of the best roundups that I can remember since we started doing this. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And again, thanks for everybody just staying by, still tuning in to things, even when I couldn't be around. And again, thanks to Leon for jumping on and taking the reins last Friday. So All right, so the National Firearms Act. I think we need to talk about that. As you know, there was quite a big decision coming out of Texas. Judge Hendricks, rightfully so. I don't know if anybody's looked at a lot of this, and you can sure chime in if you want and send some comments. But so a couple things. Was it nationwide? Yes and no. It was nationwide for the organizations or plaintiffs that were in the case. That's a pretty good explanation. Gun Owners of America being one of the bigger ones, I guess you'd call them, brought this case. I think it was, I want to say it was within 48 hours of the big, beautiful bill passing because it zeroed out the $200 tax. So it was called a tax stamp for a reason. And that's what gave it the nuts and bolts. That's what gave it the teeth to be enforced with congressional rule. Now, mind you, once the tax was eliminated, and we've all felt this way, that took away the enforcement part of that because it was no longer a tax. You can't have a zero tax, right? I mean, taxes have an amount. They are collected. Once that went away, there was really nothing to enforce, therefore making it void, which it was unconstitutional to begin with, especially in my I guess in my opinion. It should have never happened in 1934. I mean, think about this. You were able to, before that time period, you could order a suppressor. That's right, a piece of metal that suppresses sound. You're able to order one, have it dropped to your house, mailed, whatever, and it was a done deal. You could do that with guns, by the way, everybody. A lot of people don't remember that, but it wasn't until years later that you could, without an FFL, you just go to Sears and Roebuck catalog. A lot of people did. Montgomery Ward's, in fact, I still have a Montgomery Ward shotgun here. And they were just ordered up and sent in, and then you, in the mail, you received your private property granted to you by the Second Amendment, which is, I still think, is the way it should be. But that probably never going back. But the NFA, this was a big victory. I know that Gun Owners of America, I'm sure NRA and all the others are going to get behind this, most likely, because they're going to now start going forth and going in there and saying, hey, this should apply nationwide. There's no tax, right? Yes, we brought the suit. Silencer Co., they were involved in that. They were all listed as plaintiffs. Brandon Herrera, you know, at midnight, he was one of the first to go to the store down in Texas, and they bought suppressors without the Form 4, just a simple 4473, and walked out with it. Now, this is the problem. Hey, Corey, good to have you on. This is the problem. It's not a firearm, so we're still haven't won. Still have to do a 4473, just as if it was a firearm. But at least now they do the NICS, boom, you walk out with your suppressor. If you're Gun Owners of America member right now or part of the plaintiff team. So I'm really looking forward on the new lawsuits that are coming forth. I imagine Second Amendment Foundation will probably jump on this too, because now they're going to go and say, hey, we now want direction from the ATF. We want them to tell us what's the details. Is it nationwide? Is it not according to the judge ruling? Or are they going to have to go back through the court system and get a new ruling that actually says, listen, it doesn't matter if you're a member or not or a plaintiff. Now that we have standing, remember, standing is always important. Now we have standing, and if it has to go to the Supreme Court, they're going to have big standing saying, look, here's a case. It has been found that it's a zero tax. You can't have zero on a tax. Therefore, you cannot have a registry, which is unconstitutional. And that's the simple nuts and bolts of this thing. Now, we have problems, though. And North Dakota, unfortunately, is one of those. Buried in our century code, we don't qualify. Right. We still have to do the Form 4. We still have to go through the process, just as it has been before the Hendricks decision. I wasn't even aware that that was still on the books, so shame on me. Shame on everybody else for not keeping up on that. But I'm telling you right now, That needs a change in 2027 as the session comes. I've already talked to a couple of guys, and I know that NRA is on the ground already, talking to some of the key senators and reps. What you need to do is find your A ratings from NRA, ILA of every rep and every senator in the state of North Dakota in your district. Find out what they have. If they have an A or an A plus, actually, if they have any rating above a D, you need to call them, bug them, and pressure them to sponsor legislation or write it themselves that fixes this injustice. It's that simple. We should, as North Dakota residents, be able to be afforded that right. And it's not in there. We still, because of state law, we have to go through that process. It's pretty easy to fix. Do it next session. It should be an up or down vote on a single issue bill to change it. And there should be no issues with this. We have a Second Amendment that's stronger. I mean, this thing is written way better in our North Dakota Constitution than probably our federal one. It's time to make these guys buck up and say, are you really a constitutional Second Amendment supporter? Do you truly believe in those 27 words? Or do you do it to get votes and get your A rating from whatever organization, be it NRA or any of the other ones? It's just that simple. It's time to put the pressure on these people and get that fixed in the state of North Dakota. There's a lot of other states that need to do the same thing, but I'm concentrating on North Dakota. South Dakota's got it. Imagine that. They're always doing better than us on the Second Amendment. That's where I cut my teeth. Might have something to do with the fact that I was involved with a lot of those fights at the legislature at that time. And it's been a slower process here. There's no doubt about it. So in District 31, I have Karen Rohr and Dawson Hawley as reps. And we have Don Shibley, who has an A rating. And as much as I rag on him, I will tell you this, on Second Amendment issues, Don has been very good. So I give credit where credit is due, and this is no different. I don't play that game. I'm not going to chastise you just because I'm mad about other things that you do. On the Second Amendment, he gets it right. So I would like to think that he's going to get it right on this one. I'm pretty sure Dawson and Karen will come along on that as well. But hey, in your district, hop on them. Get on them. Ask them. Even if you haven't heard anything, say, hey, Senator Cleary, up there in Bismarck, who's a commie, go ahead and ask him, hey, do you really support the Second Amendment? And are you going to support or even help write or sponsor or co-sponsor legislation that will fix this problem in North Dakota with suppressors? A piece of metal that suppresses sound and protects your hearing. This is insane. What you have to do to get a chunk of metal with a hole through it to suppress metal. It's a muffler for your gun. Plain and simple. So anyway, that was the first part of that I wanted to address. I think we're going to probably see some of that happening in next session. I know I'm going to get involved. I don't have time, but everybody else has to do the same. Don't let us do all the heavy pulling. Get in there, get involved now. If you want to get involved, you can always contact me. Those of you that have my cell number, and we'll find your reps and your senator in your district. We have 47 districts, 47 senators, and I think that's the key. I'd like to see it come out of the Senate. I think that's where it would come out as a cleaner bill and not attach a bunch of things to it. In fact, I don't know how we can do it. There's a lot of things happening with this special session. I'd love to see it done right now because this is a fundamental right. I'm not worried about some plant that's supposedly causing problems as it really is much, but I'm telling you right now, this is a fundamental right. It should be fixed immediately. We have an opportunity, but I can't seem to find enough support for that right now. And they're trying to add a whole bunch of other things in this special session. This is one that should be added. And I have a feeling, I haven't talked to Kelly yet, maybe Jamie has, but I can't imagine that our governor, who is one of the most pro-Second Amendment governors, wouldn't be on board with this. So I'll try to get a hold of him, see what that, what his take is on this, because I can't imagine he wouldn't sign a bill that would fix this issue and basically change century code for that. So that's kind of my intro there on the NFA. I'm going to take a quick break, thank some sponsors and pay some bills. I want to thank everybody for tuning in there, everybody on Rumble and over there on Twitter and Facebook and all the other places, YouTube. But I'm going to come back, and I found an article I liked, and I kind of like what Representative Andrew Clyde out of Georgia, his take on this, because he's not wrong. And I have heard this talk in the media. So let's take a quick break, and let's get to some comments here. One Shot says, yep, good evening to you as well. And then Paul, Blackbeard Logic, Leon, he says, at one point, you could order a firearm through the catalog. Yeah, absolutely. The Sears catalog, Sears and Roebuck, you could get them. And get this, Montgomery Ward, you could order them just about anywhere. I mean, that's how people did commerce back, before the world went crazy, before it was so heavily regulated. You could get a shotgun, you could get a rifle, you could order Tommy guns before 1934 and get them. And yes, there's a whole history on that, and I'm not going to go into tonight, but let's face it. The National Firearms Act of 1934 pretty much came about because of what was happening, basically with the prohibition of alcohol, the crackdown from the revenuers. None of you remember the revenuers. They were the tax guys. That's why they were called, revenuers. And all those laws ended up in U.S. Code Title 18 in the United States Code. And that's the same place you're going to find the alcohol laws. You're going to find tobacco. Everything was blanketed in U.S. Code Title 18. So that's what happened there. And that's why things got so crazy. But that says they seem to be booting a lot of things down the road for the special session. They sure do. I saw a quick list, and Jamie says, I sent Kelly a text about dealing with the NFA in the special session. Haven't heard anything back. Yeah, I don't know if he'll do it in the special session. I do feel he'll support it. I don't know. The special session to me, really, man, it's August. Seriously. We got a few months before the session starts. Why are we spending a bunch of money to essentially, regulate another plant? That's kind of the way I look at it. I've done a lot of research on this finally because I didn't even know what that stuff was. The synthetic stuff, as with any synthetic stuff, is usually bad, but the natural stuff is good and has a lot of benefit. And, Leon, I caught his show on that. He's absolutely right. So I don't know if the special session is necessary. It makes me wonder what they really want. And if you go in there and look, I think we need to watch this special session very, very close. I think they're going to try to take away, in my personal opinion, counties' rights to regulate data centers. I really do believe that that's going to be part of it. For or against them, guys, it should be a local decision, plain and simple, and not to the highest bidder to get what they want. So that's kind of my take on that. Danny says, we need to change the way our schools work and go back to family values. That is the only way we're going to get back to our roots, at least our ideology-wise. Oh, I don't disagree, Dan. Let's face it, they kicked God out of school. They kicked morals out of school. They kicked everything good that made this country and our society great out of public indoctrination or government schools. I think that's why you saw a rise in homeschooling. You've seen a huge rise in people going to private schools, especially private Christian schools or private Catholic schools, either one. And you're seeing a decline in many areas. Not all of them, but in many, many areas, you're seeing a decline in student enrollment. There's a reason for that. Even colleges and universities are seeing that, and not all of them, but they're seeing a decline. I can tell you right now, and I'm going off on a tangent, there is no reason to go to college unless you need that degree to, get your preferred profession, whether it be a doctor. Unfortunately, I always wanted to be a lawyer. Honestly, if I can pass the bar, why in the world do I need a 4-year degree? Because if I can pass the bar, which by the way, I did that as a junior at Boise State. I took the one for South Dakota, passed it. I didn't get it 100% on it, but I passed it as a junior in high school because I had a hobby of reading South Dakota codified law books. Still remember a lot of that. I don't need to go to a 4-year college and 3 years of law school to practice law. I understand it probably better than some lawyers. Guarantee you I know it better than most police officers because I've encountered it. So I'll just leave that at that. I could definitely go down a whole path tonight on that. Dan, you're right. Trade and tech schools are the way to go. Absolutely. Hey, Justin, good to have you joining us tonight. Tom, good evening, my friend. God bless you. Hope you received my devotion this morning. I've been a little lax on that, everybody, but hopefully now with my schedule smoothing back out, getting regular, I'll be able to get more to that. This summer's been crazy, but yeah, I'm big on the tech school. I'm really encouraging Leighton to go to one. Hey, Randall, good to have you with us tonight. And I really do believe he's going to take up diesel mechanic and possibly welding. Maybe, I think he's going to do them both. And here's the thing. He can come back to the ranch here, which is what both my boys want to do. You have those two things in your background, you're not going to go hungry. When we got droughts or we got, there's lots of things you deal with here on a ranch, as most people who are in this industry know. You might need some off income or off ranch income, off farm income. And those are two great things. Diesel mechanic and welder. I know a lot of them that they live pretty darn good. So I can't see where that's a bad thing. And you get that certification and you're on your own. I always my grandpa told me this years ago, why work for somebody when you can be the owner and you can keep the money? And there's a lot to be said. If you don't want to have the stress, if you don't want to do anything, I don't begrudge anybody for taking a job. But I never wanted to be an employee. I always wanted to be the owner, and that's where I'm at. So, hey, good to have you on, Trampus. How was the fair up there? Wish I could have joined you guys, but again, I was pretty preoccupied. Brandon says college is way overrated unless you're going into a specialized field such as doctors. Absolutely. Lynette says, now they are passing the bar by asking ChatGPT. There could be a lot of that. I have never used ChatGPT. I do know what it is now. So, again, hey, we are a half hour into this. I'm going to go ahead and take our first break and thank our great sponsors like Lauer Auto Repair at 309 South Washington. I'm telling you, Doug and the boys down there, 701-258-6308. You can't go wrong if you go there. Although, unfortunately, when my Dodge went down, I knew he didn't work on diesels. It needed injectors, so I couldn't take it there. You got a diesel, make sure you stop by Lauer Auto Repair. Pro gun, pro Second Amendment, and you're not going to be disappointed. So, Lauer Auto Repair right there in Bismarck, North Dakota. We will be right back after our first commercial timeout. For, as Rush used to say, an obscene profit timeout. There, here we go.
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
When you want it done right,
Go where lemons go.
Kalon's Auto Service, owned and operated by Kalon and Misty Foss, lifelong locals with over 25 years experience. From modern rides to classic restorations, they can handle it all. Top quality work, fair price, and honest hometown values. Located just one block south of Highway 12 on 6th Avenue West in Lemmon, Kalon's Auto Service, serving you with all your auto repair needs.
Also, Crappie Creek Feeds, my newest sponsor here, and we want to thank Jason and his wife Megan down there. They do a great job. That's where I get all my mineral and supplements and salt, you name it, I get it down there. Pro Second Amendment, and you're not going to find greater people. Jason or Megan Holmes, 605-850-3998. Again, 605-850-3998 out of Glad Valley, South Dakota. For all your livestock mineral liquid and salt needs, give them a call, and I can tell you right now, their garlic salt or their garlic added mineral supplements, they keep the flies off, and your cows are out grazing while everybody else is bunched up. Again, Crappie Creek Feeds, LLC, proud sponsor right here of Guns and the 701. All right, we are back, everybody. Again, thanks for tuning in. Numbers keep climbing. Thank you for that, everybody. So Justin says, and I hear this a lot. He goes, I went to tech school and to be a diesel mechanic, then got a CDL. I've always had work. When I wasn't driving truck, I was working on. That's what I mean, everybody. If you can get that skill, I'm telling you, get that skill, whether it be carpentry, maybe it's a diesel mechanic, a welder, you name it, get yourself a skill and you'll never go hungry. You just won't. Now, they're tough jobs sometimes, but they're kind of labors of love, kind of like ranching. I'm telling you right now, if you think I get up in the morning at 10, which I don't, and decide to go out at 11, maybe go drive through a pasture, take some pictures and go, hey, I'm ranching. It don't work that way, everybody. It don't work that way. There's a lot of hard work goes into that. And yeah, sometimes you want to throw your hands up. Like this summer was just crazy with the hang. I got decent equipment, even upgraded some stuff, but it seemed like every time we turned around, just something was happening. It was just one of those kinds of years. You deal with that. So you get to be a mechanic. You get to be a fabricator. You get to be the tire guy. I mean, when you're doing it yourself, and I got my wife out there, and I couldn't do it without her. There's no doubt about that. We have a very blessed family here, and we get it done. We get it done, but it's a labor of love. We own it. It's for ourselves, and we're building something for the future generation. Maybe that's the difference. So always get yourself a skill, everybody. Always get a skill. Brandon says, yeah, college is way overrated. So we went on that one. Let's see, I'll make sure I'm not missing anybody. Hey, Brian Harrigan, born in the USA. Absolutely proud of it. I can't say it enough, man. We are some of the most blessed people. God made us be born right here in the United States, and I can't think of any place else I'd want to be. With all its faults, this is still the best country. Now it's our job. We need to pick up that torch. We need to protect our freedoms, protect our Second Amendment freedoms, and remember who we are, because you, me, I'm telling you right now, we are the ones that are standing in the way of the fall of this country right now. We are that generation that needs to pick that torch up from our grandfathers, our grandmothers, and just go forth, just full on, and restore the freedom and the integrity and the moral direction of this country. That's just where we're at right now. Paul says, amen. Absolutely. So going back here on the NFA, I kind of gave you my overview, but I found this article. I kind of liked what the guy was saying, and I'm just going to kind of read a little bit out of it. And he starts out, he goes, many of us in the Second Amendment community, including myself, have made some pretty serious mistakes. And you got to ask yourself, what are those? We all make mistakes, and we have. And how many times you heard me say on this show, terminology means everything. It's the way they coin things. And I'm starting to see some other shifts in other subjects, and the terminology is everything. Well, he says, we've talked about the expansion of gun rights, and he kind of talks about, we have shall issue permitting. We've got constitutional carry now, Bruin decision, the Wolford decision. That's just to name a few. But those were not expansion of gun rights, were they? And this is what he was getting at. He says, these were all framed, including people in our camp, as expanding gun rights. They're not. They didn't expand anything. Representative Andrew Clyde from Georgia says gun right advocates are cheering a recent ruling that will make it easier for people to obtain firearm suppressors and certain weapons. He's a business founder. He turned a lawmaker, and he calling it the greatest restoration of Second Amendment rights in almost a century. So yeah, 92 years. I like that. It has restored what was already ours. And before I go off on my own thing, I'm just going to kind of read because this kind of says the same thing. Because Representative Andrew Clyde, who founded Clyde Armory, and before he was elected to Congress, argued that the regulatory barrier was wrong in the first place because it taxed the constitutional right. You know, when we were wanting to carry, we'll go back several decades really. So we knew we couldn't get straight on constitutional carry. So what we did was we passed laws to get concealed carry permits. I was never a fan of them. Okay, didn't like them. I used to get in arguments with friends of mine, and they're like, "Yeah, you supported it." Yes, I supported it because that's all we could pass. Anybody that's worked in that legislative process knows you are not going to get, the end goal was constitutional carry, no permit. For every legal citizen who is legally able to carry a firearm, that was the goal. But that is not where you're going to get. You don't get from no carry to constitutional carry without steps, unfortunately, in the legislative process, because they chipped away at that little by little over a century. Seriously. Yes, a lot of people kind of get on me too, because I was like, you do know that there were forms of gun control in the late 1800s. It probably went before that. It's not the first time gun control has been tried, everybody. It just didn't get, I don't know what you want to say. It didn't get any of the press back then because there was none to get. There wasn't what we have today. News didn't travel fast, and it was local stuff like turn your guns in before you come into town type stuff with the sheriff. But to me, that was an infringement, and all in the name of safety. But we're not going to go down that tonight. Anyway, so to get from basically carrying to open carry to constitutional carry, whatever it might be, there were a lot of steps there. So yes, I supported and help fight and write some legislation back in South Dakota when we brought in carry permits. Then we went forth and said, hey, reciprocity. Remember that fight, everybody? Reciprocity. And we started fighting real hard and started winning reciprocity with other states. Essentially it allowed most attorney generals to enter in agreements with other states with certain parameters that were being fulfilled with constitutional carry, saying, hey, or not constitutional, with concealed carry permits from other states. They'd say, listen, we have right now, say, state of South Dakota, we can all have a concealed carry permit. It's this, and this, and we want to enter into one in North Dakota. Well, those two attorney generals would generally get together and work out those parameters and get it done. Then we finally got constitutional carry. That was a long road, honestly. But we have it. Not every state. Maybe someone's got the number. 37 states. I can't remember anymore that have constitutional carry. It's been a while since I looked up that number. No different here. NFA is going to be a long battle yet. Anyway, I know I went off on a little rabbit hole there. Getting back to Representative Andrew Clyde, he said, if you can tax something legitimately, you can actually destroy it through increased taxation. He's talking about rights. He says you might have a right on paper, but you don't really have the right if you can't afford it. Case in point is concealed carry permits. Many states had absurd prices for their concealed carry weapons permits or classes. All these things that would hinder you, make you jump through hoops to get a permit to exercise your right that you already possessed and you didn't need a permit for, but you would because some tyrant, because he's just doing his job, was going to back that up because that's what the law was. Well, some laws should never be followed or enforced. That's just the reality of it. So anyway, So he says, here we are now. We're removing the taxation on a constitutional right from a bill that was passed in 1934. And once you remove the tax aspect of it, you then remove the constitutionality of the registration aspect. And that's what that was. If you're filling out a Form 4, and if you haven't done it, yeah, that's what you're doing. You're essentially registering your firearm, which was the suppressor or short-barreled rifle, whatever it might be. He says the greatest restoration is a good way to frame this, not only because it's accurate, but because framing it this way as a restoration is what is important, at least for our purposes, he said. So our rights are ours from the start. They don't need to be expanded. They don't get expanded. They never get expanded, especially by government. Right? And that's true. Government don't expand your rights generally. Government generally is taking them away, chipping away at them, regulating them, demeaning them, devaluing them, and charging you for them. That is that's the path. That's just the way it happens. So when they say that they've expanded the gun rights under the National Firearms Act, now zeroing out of the tax, it's not an expansion. It's a restoration, and only a small one. There's still plenty of things in there that need to go away. and he did put out, he goes, anti-gunners, they know this so well. The language plays tricks with the other side, with their brains. Communication is important as a means of sharing the information. It can also be used to manipulate what many are thinking. Calling these events an expansion of gun rights means that we are getting something new and that we're being granted a bit of new freedom. That's not what it is, all right? We didn't get anything new granted to us. It was already written in the Second Amendment. So this was a restoration. And then he actually just reiterated what I said here. But freedom doesn't come from the government beyond using military to protect us from the invasions or using police to minimize the tyranny of a thug. Because government does take away freedom. I guess I got ahead of myself. Said the NFA was a means of curtailing the freedom that already existed, where anyone could order a suppressor from a catalog. We were just talking about that. Have it mailed to their house, all without any paperwork or licensing. What we got wasn't an expansion. It was a small bit of the restoration from what existed a couple of years ago. And it's not even a complete restoration of that. Calling it a restoration conveys the message accurately that we're just getting back what we should have had all along, and we haven't had in 92 years. You know, that representative gets it, right? Representative Clyde, Republican from Georgia, he gets it. Gets it big time. I've gotten it for a very long time. Most people listening to this show tonight, you guys get it. I know Jamie gets it. That ain't even a question. I know Paul gets it. I know both the Dans on here get it. Trampus gets it. All you guys listening in tonight, I know get it. I know Axe over at LAUER Auto gets it. But there's a lot of people don't. There's a lot of people out there that think that we should know none of it. They're losing their minds that this is happening. Daryl, he puts up here, drives me insane when some gun rights people think requiring a concealed carry class is just great because people should have to have some knowledge how to use it. However, the Constitution doesn't say anything about that in the language. Amen. Nothing in those 27 words says you can have a concealed carry class to get your concealed carry permit because you should have knowledge. It doesn't say in there. I mean, do I think it's a good idea? You have good working knowledge of your firearm, how to use it, shoot it, fire it, clean it, take care of it? Yeah, you should, but it's not a requirement. And just because you do that class doesn't mean you have the knowledge of it. I mean, it's a pretty simple class in most cases. And now with constitutional carry, that isn't necessarily a requirement anymore. But if you want to get reciprocity with other states, it's good to go and get one of the 2 concealed carry permits. It does help. Plus in North Dakota, if you get, I don't remember everybody. You'd have to correct me on which one it is. But if you get it, then you don't have to do the 4473 because that serves. And that's another question. I tried to get a couple guys on tonight, but Maybe next week we're going to have a couple on that are going to talk more about this, because there's no clarification now as to if that suffice for your suppressor. I would think it would be if your state offers that, and they're one of the states that doesn't bar it, from state law. I don't know, but I have no clue. That's why I wanted to get a couple of FFL dealers and see if they've heard that 4473 substitute, which would be certain concealed carry permits in states, would be suffice for that 4473 to get your suppressor now, because they still classified them as a firearm. And you still got to get them for the machine guns. The NFA didn't go away. It's like the Representative Clyde said, we took a little bit out of there and restored it. So there's a lot of work yet to do. Baby steps, because the wheels of government move very, very, very slow. And as we saw in Congress, even during the big, beautiful bill, they were not willing to get rid of the NFA. They didn't want to have that fight. Republicans, we know the Democrats are against it. But we had Republicans that didn't want to have that fight. And with Thune in the leadership in the Senate, I don't have much confidence in him that he would be on board with it either. I really don't. So it's unfortunate. But Daryl, you're right. It drives me insane too that, we got gun people that think you should have a concealed carry class just to carry. I've met them. I've had that discussion with them. No, it's not a requirement. Not by the Second Amendment. Definitely isn't a requirement. And I think the NFA is an unconstitutional law. It's been on the books way too long. Remember, $200 was a lot of money in 1934, and that's why they did that. Justin says, with both permits, a Class 1 and a Class 2, you don't need to call it in with the 4473. They just take a photocopy of it and put your permit number on a sheet. Thank you, Justin. See, I couldn't remember. I'll be honest, guys. After concealed constitutional carry came into play, and in South Dakota, especially in South Dakota, because I helped write that law, anybody can carry in South Dakota without a permit as long as you're legally permitted to, because we modeled it after Wyoming's. Stace Nelson really brought that forth when he was in the legislature. I seriously sat down with him and we wrote that, and it passed eventually. He was out of office by then. I was in North Dakota and I was retired by then. We finally got it over the finish line, and Kristi Noem signed it. We had it on Governor Rounds' desk a couple times and he wouldn't sign it. Just so everybody remembers that. Rhino Rounds would not sign that piece of legislation. So he wasn't a Second Amendment guy, like he said. And I can tell you, Dusty Johnson down there is just the same. So I was glad to see his defeat in the primary. Alfred E. Newman lost, so that was good to see. Larry Roden down there, everybody. He's pretty good on the Second Amendment. I'll say that. And he definitely would be better than Democrat running. So I guess you don't have a lot of choice in South Dakota. You're going to have to vote Roden, being he won the primary. But I'm telling you right now, he's pretty good on the Second Amendment. So I don't think that'd be an issue. But there you go. You have it right there, everybody. In North Dakota, Class 1, Class 2. You don't have to call in for the 4473. That serves as your 4473. So there are some advantages to having the concealed permit. You can bypass the paperwork. But I don't have one because the states I travel to, I don't need it because they have constitutional carry. And if you're a law-abiding citizen and you're not a resident of that state or states, you can carry just as if you were in your home state. So I'm very happy about that. So I should probably get one. We shall see. Tell you what, everybody, we're coming up. Wow, it's almost an hour. We're going to take our long break here. Thank our sponsors. I'm going to get a refill, and this is water, everybody. Don't worry. I'm not going to get cooked here tonight. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break again. Thank all of our sponsors. We can't do it without them. And then we will be right back with the second part of Guns in the 701 tonight.
LAUER Auto Repair, located Located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
When you want it done right,
Go where lemons go.
Kalon's Auto Service, owned and operated by Kalon and Misty Foss, lifelong locals with over 25 years experience. From modern rides to classic restorations, they can handle it all. Top quality work, fair price, and honest hometown values. Located just one block south of Highway 12 on 6th Avenue West in Lemmon. Kalon's Auto Service, serving you with all your auto repair needs.
For the best gun gear for every and any situation, Little Angry Man Arms LLC has you covered. Top-notch guns from top-name brands like Winchester, Glock, Sig Sauer, and Ruger to essential extras from Magpul's, Streamlight, Hollow, Sun Optics, and more. Little Angry Man Arms LLC have everything to make your shooting adventures a success. Visit littleangrymanarms.com today and gear up for your next big hunt, competition, or home defense. Don't miss out on our exclusive deals. Little Angry Man Arms LLC, based in Trail City, South Dakota, your ultimate hunting partner.
At Horton LaserCraft, we believe in the power of personalization. Whether it's a cherished memory, a special occasion, or a unique gift, our custom laser engraving brings your vision to life. Our expert craftsmen and state-of-the-art technology ensure every piece is a work of art. From personalized decor to one-of-a-kind keepsakes, Horton LaserCraft makes every moment unforgettable. Horton LaserCraft is owned and operated by a local veteran and his wife located near Thunderhawk, South Dakota. They provide custom laser products at a reasonable price, and their turnaround time is fast and efficient.
Custom board cutting, glassware, decanter sets, mugs, assorted stainless steel jewelry, assorted tags, decor, custom acrylic nightlights, and much, much more.
Call them up at 605-545-7535. Horton LaserCraft, where memories are engraved.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Again, thanks to our great sponsors and, of course, Crappie Creek Feeds down there, LLC down in Glad Valley. They are one of my favorite places to go. Jason and Megan do a fantastic job down there, and proud to have them on as another sponsor. And you can reach them at 605-850-3998. Again, 605-850-3998. For all of your livestock, mineral, liquid, and salt needs, give them a call at 605-850-3998. Crappie Creek Feeds, LLC, Glad Valley, South Dakota. So, I don't know if anybody has heard, but before we get going here, I want to thank Jamie last week. It was a lot of fun. Me and Leon joined him along with Axe and had a great roundtable. We went for like 2 hours. And I don't know what they did afterwards. I had to get going, especially that last Wednesday when we did that. I was getting up early to start that 6-day run doing that yearling roundup and load out. So I needed to get to bed. But thanks, Jamie, for having us on. We had a great time, and we're going to have to do that again. So I'll catch Jamie tomorrow night, 701 Nation, and he's going to be there at 7 p.m. Central, and I'm sure he's going to have another fun-filled evening of information, hunting, shooting, and he does more of that. I really kind of stick to the politics. We'll probably get in a little of the hunting stuff, or at least the hunting laws coming up. There's some crazy ones out there. I know Vance has been doing a little of that on this Sunday Sportsman devotion too. So anyway, I got to do this though. So maybe we won't get There we go. They're not fancy this year. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, this is our Grant Sioux County 2026 Farm Bureau Freedom Rod Raffle. And of course, we're going to have 500 tickets. They are $20 a ticket. This year, guys, we're celebrating 250th birthday of the United States. So we have a 1911, which is going to have grips from A&A engraving, kind of commemorating the 250th. Of course, that's a 45 ACP. And then the AR-15, it's a U.S. wrapped flag AR. You're going to love it. It's nice. I don't have the pictures. I'll make up some flyers. We're getting a little bit behind on this. I know Paul's out there selling. I know Tramp is selling. We got tickets out there. Jamie has some up there in Bismarck. You need to get a hold of Jamie. He sure can take care of you there. They're $20 a piece. And again, till they're sold out. And this is going to help Oliver and Grant Sioux County Farm Bureau. And we do things with that money. I always get asked, what do you guys do with that money? Well, at the Grant County Fair this weekend, I know we provided cards for free ice cream to all the 4-H kids. We do stuff like that. Of course, we have our annual meeting. We do a lot of things. Yeah, we'll get the pictures done, Daryl. I wanted to get them on here tonight, and like I said, the last 6 days I have not had a chance to do that. I will definitely get pictures done, and I'll get a little flyer out for everybody. But again, you want to get those, get a hold of myself or any of our Farm Bureau county reps there, county board members, and Oliver. You got plenty of guys there. Paul's there, myself, Trampus. I don't know if you give any to Jody, but I know that Jeff Ulrich's got some Trampus due up there in Grant County as well. So as do I. Get those, and again, let's sell it out again. We did last year. So, and it went to Brian Novak, if I remember right. He was the winner. So before we get that done, I don't know if anybody heard, but there was unfortunately another shooting. This time though, wasn't in the United States, right? Them are always making the news. This happened in Thailand, and kind of brought it up because Thailand's kind of interesting. I don't know how many of you know. Hey, Brian, good evening. Good to have you on there. Sorry you're late. That's okay. Catch the rest of it on a replay, right? You can actually have firearms in Thailand. I was actually shocked about that too. I did not understand that you could actually do that. So it was kind of nice to see that as well. BBC, they kind of were reporting it. I like to go over and see the overseas stuff. And as you can expect from the BBC, I mean, that's a government-funded broadcasting station. Let's just face it. They didn't exactly give a good example as to what was happening in that shooting and blamed the 10 million firearms. That's a problem. Them are kind of rookie numbers, aren't they, everybody? 10 million firearms. That it, man? Don't worry. I didn't forget you, Paul. We got you in there, Oliver County. So, yeah, I laughed at the way that this was brought forth from the BBC and the way that they kind of encompassed it. I mean, they made it sound like that it was a gun problem, not the fact that Thailand itself, especially in its capital city, they're not a very peaceful city or country. Their way of life tends to be a violent one in a lot of aspects. That's just the society. And then I find out also that by having a firearm, getting your permit and possessing a firearm in Thailand, it gives you a social status. And I didn't realize that. It gives you one of strength and power. And of course, you have a right to, you're good at self-defense. If you have a nice firearm or have a firearm at all, you are thought of as somebody of strength and power in Thailand. And that might be an issue in its own, right? It's not because it's your right. It's not because you're going to go hunting with it. I mean, it's just one of strength and power. Yes, it's used, a lot of times it's being used for self-defense, but it's also being used to commit robberies. Robbery rate is way up there. And it makes sense. And it's in the cities. And this is what's sad, they said here. This comes, they go, murder for hire. So you can actually go out and hire somebody to kill whoever you want over there. And a lot of the times it goes unsolved. That's kind of sad. So it shows you where that society's at right now. It's seen as I know, means to an end. Is that a good way to put it? Maybe they value guns not because they value the rights to have them. It's a mean to protect themselves. It's also a status symbol associated with strength and power, like I was saying. And I do agree. I think that's part of the problem. Do we see that in the United States? I think in some aspects we do. Go to some of your major cities, Chicago, New York, any of the blue controlled ones that have all this gun control. Who has the guns? The felons, the thugs, the evil people, right? And usually the innocent people are left defenseless because of the crazy, outlandish gun laws they have. It's not guns, guys. Guns are just a thing. Right here. They're just sitting there, right? It ain't like they get up and go start causing problems and committing crimes, right? They're not cursed. They're not going to take over anything. They're not like AI, who that might someday, those things might take us over, but that's, Terminator movies might come true. But it's bad people with a gun do bad things. And, Charlton Heston, I thought he said, the NRA had a big thing. A good guy with a gun stops a bad guy with a gun. And we've seen that over and over in our Happy Ending Chronicles and in the Hootenannies over on 701 Nation. It's not the gun. The gun it's an object, like a car. In all honesty, if you really wanted to hurt and maim people, I'm not advocating for that. Don't ding me, YouTube. But you could do a lot more damage with a vehicle, a big, heavy vehicle going into a crowd of people. Seriously. And you don't even have a right to have one of them, really. I mean, the government took that away a long time ago. Got to get a license. It's a privilege now to get a license to drive it. You got to pay fees to have it. Some states have pretty strict inspections. Yeah, there's a lot of things that go along with owning a vehicle, a lot of costs. So, yeah, I just kind of looked at that. I wanted to mention that tonight because Thailand, we don't hear a lot about, right? And it's sad this happened at a high school. If you haven't heard about the incident, a high school student, he was carrying 2 pistols, shot to death a fellow student before killing himself. It was attacking a Southern Philippine high school campus that he live streamed using a body-worn camera. Isn't that something? It was the second fatal shooting in the country in just 2 months. Hundreds of students were evacuated after the shots rang out. And the building, blah, 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 the university campus in southern port city of Zamboanga. 2 other people were injured. The suspect identified police as a grade 9 student, fired at the teacher sitting at the front of the class and missed. This is the second shooting. He then shot a student on the 4th floor of the building before going up to the floor and then killing himself. Wow. Guys, 9th grader. Think about when you guys were in 9th grade, huh? I'm telling you, that wasn't even on my mind in the 9th grade for sure. It's not on my mind now, but it tells you the culture they're growing up in over in Thailand. And I fear that you're seeing some of that in the United States. I'm not even some, you're seeing it. 9th grade students who, whatever clicked in their head, and they take a gun to school, shoot at their teacher and miss, and decide, I'll just take out another student and then go up and do myself in 9th grade. Wow. Can't even think. I mean, you're talking, 13, 14-year-old kid, probably. It's really sad, really. I would imagine that there's probably no moral compass in this kid's life, maybe not even their family. I don't know, making assumptions. But I would bet there's more to this story here. And then it talks about how he entered and just started firing, really just indiscriminately after that. And then that's when he went up, and of course we heard the rest of it. It's just, they said we're going to look into his gaming history and his chat history so we can come up with a complete answer as to why this happened. So that kind of brings up something. I'd love to hear from you guys. Are video games and social media, is it a big part of the problem we're seeing here? Not with just kids, but as firearm-related problems as a whole. First of all, there's no such thing as gun violence. Violence is violence. Quit calling it gun violence. Guns don't do nothing. They commit nothing. They sit there. It's not gun violence. Violence is violence. So there is that aspect. Remember, I talked about terminology earlier in the evening, and that's what the left does. So tell me, is this a problem? I think it is with social media and some of the video games. I think in some aspects, yes. I think that you probably see this happen mostly in, and it don't necessarily have to be single parent homes. It can be a 2-parent home where the parents are absent. Maybe they're both working so that they can keep a roof over their head and food on the table and clothes on their back. But then their child is online playing crazy games where they can do whatever they want. I'm not just talking shooting. I've seen some of these games. I mean, some of these are horrendous. And I can't imagine when I see a 12 and 13-year-old, and I know some, their parents let them do these kinds of games where you get points for raping women. Seriously? You're letting your child play that? Moral compass, morality, God-based life. It's all missing, and that's a big problem today. And I think then when you're inundated with that on a daily basis for hours, especially in the summer when they're not in school. I mean, I don't know how many hours this one child I know is behind a gaming console, or he's talking to people through, you name the social platform, Instagram, chat. I don't even know them all out there. And the parents aren't regulating it at all. That's on the parent. You need to get a hold of that. Daryl says moral compass is gone when people don't value life from the very beginning. That's right. And believing it's killing babies is okay. That is so true. We have devalued life so far that they call it a fetus or a clump of cells. Conception is life. That is my belief. And it's not opinion. It's fact. Conception starts, or life starts at conception. I agree with Daryl on that. And when you have no value on that life, I mean, there even was it Massachusetts? I just heard they got crazy gun laws too, but they want to now abort children, not fetuses, right at birth. Seriously, that's sick. Really, what kind of demonic possession do you have to have? This look at a little baby. All you guys that have had kids out there, can you imagine taking that child right when it comes out and saying, you know what, I'm going to abort. I'm going to go ahead and kill that right now. Because that's what that is. And if you've never watched a video of an abortion, probably good you haven't. It is a sick thing. But I don't see how anybody would ever watch a video of that happening, could ever believe that that is a just and right thing to do. It blows my mind. That's not your choice. That baby was a blessing. It's not your choice. And they're not pro-choice, they're pro-death. We're pro-life. So Justin says the thing about so many of these games is that they are graphic and can be as graphic as they can be. And I believe that it desensitizes people. I don't disagree with that, Justin. I've seen it in some of the young kids. In fact, on Wednesday nights, I help out with a youth group, and that's kind of why I switched to Tuesday nights. Because of that, we've been, during the summer, we don't have as many coming. But you get in the fall when school starts and winter, we get a lot more attendance. But it's nice to see them come back. But I think we've helped a lot of them kids from doing bad things, possibly. It gives them focus. It gives them something to look forward to. It gives them worth. I think that's a lot of it too, guys. Justin, Daryl, all you guys. I don't think these kids have self-worth. So therefore, why would they value anybody else's life? They don't have any self-worth themselves. And that contributes heavily, in my opinion, to what we see with crimes with guns, whether it be murder, robberies, whatever, you name it. And then, of course, who's the big boogeyman in the room? It's us, you, me, gun owners, NRA members, Gun Owners American members, anybody that fights for your right, because they believe that by taking our right away, it's going to make them safer. It's not. The result is opposite. FBI just came out with stats showing that, and I thought that was funny. I was going to talk about that tonight, but I think I'm going to save that for Friday with Todd, because it shows that everything we've been saying is correct. It's not a gun problem. More guns really means less crime. More guns, an armed society is a polite society. It's just absolutely that. And Daryl says, absolutely. Sense of self-worth is big time important. Absolutely. I think when I look around and I see the kids who don't work, I don't know about everybody on here, but I had to work as a high school student. And before that, I lived in town, so I had a paper route when I was young. I think I was like 4th grade or 3rd grade when I got my first paper route. And then I worked for my grandpa. I mowed lawns. I helped him clean the Legion Club because he was the guy that was running that at the time. But I always had a job, a goal, and a reward, I guess you could call it. The job was XYZ. The goal was to get it done in a competent and efficient way and do it well, take pride in your work. And then there was usually a paycheck at the end of some sort. That gives you self-worth. It makes you have some kind of confidence that you can do something. You can be somebody. You are part of this thing, this world. It's amazing. And then, of course, I had a family structure. I had 2 parents. I had my mom and my dad. My grandparents were around. It was a complete and total family structure. We got together for family, events, whether it just be mom and dad, grandparents, or the whole family of aunts and uncles and cousins. And it was gratifying. I didn't know it at the time, but to me, it was just normal. Take all that away now and ask yourself, where would you be? Some of you maybe have been there. Maybe you didn't have that. Where did you turn? What did you do? What did you turn to be successful and be a positive thing in life? Because I know not everybody, I guarantee you, not everybody had the perfect life that's probably tuning in tonight, but you didn't turn the wrong way because somewhere along the line you were given self-worth. And Paul Metz says, yeah, same here. Just as so many of these are on a mood alternating drug. Yes, they are. Also, they have been taught the lie that we evolved and not made of God's image. That is so true too. So true too. Daryl says, get back to learn a skill or help these kids learn a skill. Absolutely, it does. It gets right back to that. And that's what we're doing there. So in this youth program, we now have a welding part of this. And the girls and boys can both do it. And we've had girls in there. They're learning the skill of welding. I'm not teaching it. I can weld kind of, but I am not the welder that, that this guy is. And they're not just welding, they were learning how, but now they're building portable grill panels. Cool, right? Something that people around here will buy. They need on their ranch. I'm going to buy some myself. I mean, self-worth. They accomplish something. They can say, I built that. And then the money generated is going to go back in this youth program. But you're giving these kids something to do other than be on a video game. Maybe their home life ain't great. They can get away from that for several hours in the evening, be around like-minded people. Of course, we definitely are very God-centered in this, and that's the whole point of it. And then there's a service afterwards that has participation from these kids. There's a Bible study along with a service, and they stick around everybody. They don't leave. That's the cool thing. I wondered if they'd stick around. I'm not the one that started this. I'm just volunteering, and I'm very blessed to be part of that. I'm glad I can do that on my Wednesday night. So Brian says, growing up on the poorer side of life was a blessing for a lot of us. Earning something means something. Absolutely, Brian. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth either. Had to earn it. Not that my parents did bad. We were always provided for. We had the necessities, right? We did. But we didn't have a lot of extras. So I had to do things like mow lawns. Maybe, we started a lawn mowing business, had a paper route, shoveled snow, you name it. And then when I got older, I went to work at the grocery store, held that down, plus wrestled, plus did my studies. And I was happy. I did. I learned to be part of something, and that was to be part of society, but also have self-worth. I don't know about you guys, but like when I was working for a carpenter and we build something, I like driving by there still today going, hey, I helped build that. Corey, he was listening. Him and I worked for his mom at her landscaping business. I still see trees in Lemmon that we planted, Corey. It's kind of cool knowing that we walked. Corey just said that we did that, and now that tree is how many we planted? It was small. Self-worth, and I don't. To me, that's a big thing missing. Yeah. Yeah, he says, Daryl says, that's a great thing that you're part. Daryl, appreciate that because I wasn't always there either, everybody. Everyone knows that. But being part of that gives self-worth too. To see these kids knowing that if we didn't have that there for them, I don't know what they'd be doing on their Wednesday nights. Probably not good things. Probably not good things. But it's nice to see that they come and they're learning, and some of them are doing better in school. Even I know last year there was several that they needed, they'd come to all of us and ask for help, which was kind of neat to see that happening. I've actually, Leighton's friends with some of them. We've had them out here. Of course, you know me, everyone, I take them out shooting, right? I taught them the right way to shoot a firearm. I taught them the responsibility of shooting a firearm, and I taught them the joy of it, of just plinking at steel targets and having fun, doing it not because you're mad, not because you need to defend yourself. No, we're just going out having a good time, exercising our rights. Of course, I never missed that opportunity to teach them about our founding and the rights that were all granted, not just the second, but all of our rights. And I don't know where they get it. They sure won't get it in school. So yeah, Corey, I did. I said the landscaping thing, and that you and I had a lot of fun doing that. Hey, Dave, good to have you on. Hey, Dave, I hope you got my email today. I didn't get that to you last night, unfortunately, but I did get it to you today, so you can submit that to them, and we should be able to get that going. As soon as we get that going, we'll announce it here too, because that'll be something cool as well. But anyway, I had a long day. I was up at 4 o'clock this morning. We were out most of the day getting the last 800 head moved in and on the trucks. And I'm not going to kid y'all, I'm a little bit tired. It probably seems like I am, but I wanted to talk about the NFA, and I didn't think we'd go down this particular rabbit hole tonight. But I think we come to the conclusion that some of the things you see with gun problems are not guns, of course, not our rights. It's the void of self-worth, and self-worth is very, very, very important. And God in their lives. And I think that's probably the problem with anybody's lives. If you don't have that center around a moral compass, that being God's, there's going to be problems. There just is. It took me a long time to learn that too, everybody, but I'm there, and I'm not afraid to say it. And I fail every day. That's why I start the show with a prayer. I start my morning with a prayer and a devotion every single morning. I was sharing it every day. Life kind of took over here. It doesn't mean I wasn't doing it. I needed to get out the door, so it didn't happen. But we're doing a lot of early morning and night bailing this summer. But it's just, I'm in a really different place than I ever was a year ago, and I'm very thankful for it. Dave says there must be something hitting the fan in St. Paul. Let's see, something in the sky, and what do you say? Hail in the sky and 15. That's what it is. Helicopter in the sky and 15 HPs hauling to the west. Ooh, so you must be out by St. Paul, Minnesota. Dave does over the road trucking. So you have to give us an update if you find out, or we might hear about it in the news. Who knows? Justin says, there's a great program that I found out about at the NRA annual meeting, prayer breakfast, called Fathers in the Field. Yes, it is. It's worth getting involved with. Yes, and I'll tell you right now, we funded some of that when I was with the NRA with our state programs. If you aren't familiar with Fathers in the Field, please go look it up. Do an internet search. It'll come right up. Fantastic program. And they're doing the same thing. They're reaching kids. We got South Dakota Youth Outdoor Adventures down here, and it's based out of the Rapid City area. Jim Skull basically founded that and got it going. And they do fantastic things too. There are plenty of places, if people want to get involved, you can get kids involved with hunting, shooting, the great outdoors. It's so rewarding. And I can't do them all. You just can't. It's impossible to do them all, but do it. I always told everybody, I am a example of take a kid hunting or fishing. My dad didn't really do a lot of it. Okay. He just didn't. But I can tell you right now that I had a great friend who his dad, he was a instructor for firearm safety. He was the hunter's ed instructor for years. He absolutely was the guy that introduced me to hunting and fishing. It would be Eric and Ryan's dad and them. And I was hooked after the first time I went out. Now, I didn't know anything. That was the biggest thing. And of course, I might have even seemed a bit dangerous at times because I didn't know all these things, but they taught them to me, right? So I was introduced to it. I didn't shoot my first deer till 16 years of age, guys. I was never introduced to it. But once I was hooked, and I was hunting every single day that I could. I mean, that was, I don't know how else to say it. Without that, I don't know if I'd ever gotten involved like I did with gun rights. I mean, I don't know. I was so thankful to be part of that. I really was. Also, I want to put up here, Dakota Rough Riders, October 23rd, Friends of NRA event. It'll be taking place at the Baymont Inn and Suites in Mandan, North Dakota. Tickets are $50 a piece. If you want to get in touch and get tickets, you can go to friendsofnra.org. Just search North Dakota, or you can contact Jeff Mostelski at 701-400-9911. Again, 701-400-9911. Dakota Rough Riders, Friends of NRA event, October 23rd. That's a Friday, everybody. And it starts 4:30. So doors open at 4:30 Central Time. So keep that in mind. And of course, they're going to have the gun of the year. And I don't know, they'll have all the cool stuff that we always had, I'm sure, before. October 23rd, the next day. Hey, Dan, are you still listening? Bakken Friends of NRA. I know a lot of people that still run that. In fact, Diana Johnson's your contact. I still know her. That's the sister of my buddy DJ down there, Thompson in the hills, and he used to do the Rapid City ones. But you can contact her at 701-570-1480. Single ticket prices are $60. It's at the McKenzie County Ag Expo building in Watford City. And doors open at 5:30 Central Time. So that's Saturday, October 24th. So you can hit Mandan on Friday night. Have a great weekend. Head over to the Bakken one over in Watford City and have another great time. So that's two Friends of NRA events in North Dakota coming up here in a couple months. You're going to want to go and hit them. And they do a lot of great things. In fact, Justin, we talked about, the Fathers in the Field. I know Friends of NRA programs have supported that a lot in the past. So, all right, Justin says, friend of mine was getting disgusted with the current youth and was depressed after retiring. He got involved in it, and it helped him too. Absolutely. That's the thing. That's a two-way street when you get involved in these things, whether it's a youth program or Fathers in the Field or any of these youth-related hunting and shooting programs. It's going to be very gratifying, and I don't know how you describe it. It's very satisfying, and you learn a lot. You learn as much from them kids as they learn from you. And knowing that you help them out and you see them years later, you just, you did the right thing. And you did what God was supposed to, is dictated to you to do. And that's just the plain and simple truth. You're being a good steward of the resources, whether it be kids, animals, or land. Kids are the future. That's simple. And we need to be there for them, especially those that have nobody. And it's getting to be more common. But again, everybody, Friday, I will be on with Todd Mitchell. And that'll take place at 7:15 Mountain, 8:15 Central in the morning. I'm planning to talk with Todd a little bit on Mitchell in the morning. Like I said, about the FBI stats and a couple other things I've seen going on. I might even hit on some more NFA stuff if it gets updated. That's the big thing. the show next week, I hope to have an FFL dealer on. He's looking at his schedule because I know he does this kind of stuff. So I really want him to be part of it, and he couldn't be on tonight. That was my plan, is to have him on tonight. So I'm hoping to have him on next week. I don't want to say who it is until I'm confirmed, but I want to get somebody on here for sure. I'm also working on getting on one of the guys from the National Rifle Association that's really involved with the NRA ILA as far as North and South Dakota goes. So kind of want to talk still with him about fixing North Dakota's law when it comes to the NFA items and what we just seen with the suppressor ruling. So that's kind of on the agenda. Blackbeard Logic, of course, follows Friday evening at 5 o'clock Mountain, 6 o'clock Central. You don't want to miss that. Jamie will be on tomorrow night, Wednesday night, 7 p.m., 701 Nation on all of his outlets. And, of course, on Sundays, Vance Bishop has the Sunday Sportsman's Devotion. Everybody, I would love to stay and chat, but I'll tell you what, I got to clock out. It's been a long day. Appreciate y'all. Go see our sponsors. Tell them that you love Guns on the 701 and their support that they're giving to us. Everybody, I want you to have a great weekend. God bless everybody. And I'll tell you what, I'll make sure you keep your powder dry. See everybody next week.